Thank you so much for joining me. Today is. Hi, guys. How are you? Sorry about that pause. Yeah. Today is episode 7 of Self Care Chats with Farah, and I am speaking to a very good friend of mine, Mr. Fareed Khimani, and he should be joining us in a bit. There he is. I almost had a heart attack because going on right now. Yeah. Wow. Alhamdulillah. Hi, everyone. Yeah. Let's hold on for Mr. Khimani. Um, yeah. Today's Friday, so I was supposed to have a live on Wednesday, but I had it yesterday and today. So yeah, I'm really enjoying these lives. And getting to talk to all my friends about our emotions, our feelings, and I'm learning so much from them. And it's just amazing how we all connect emotionally, we can also learn so much from each other. I'm trying to connect. It's not connecting. It's connecting. It's unable to join. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Sent in a request. Okay, connecting. We're waiting for my guest to join. And yeah, so that our episode can start. Yes. Bismillah. Hi everyone. Hi, thank you so much for joining today. Okay, it's saying connecting. Okay, Instagram, don't do something funny. Please connect, please connect. We're waiting for you to join us. Hi everyone, hi. Hi. Okay. Unable to join. Why is it saying unable to join? Oh boy. What is happening? Okay, there's something wrong. It says unable to join. If you're still in the room, just tell me what to do. Okay. Go live with Fareed Khimani, waiting for Fareed. Let's wait. I hope it's gonna connect now. Okay, it's saying connecting. There. Thank you. Hi.
Hey,
How are
hey,
you?
how you doing?
Good.
I'm
And
good, I'm good.
I
Sorry,
swear
I
I was
was
like, oh God,
connected.
you're gonna stand me up today.
No.
You are at home today?
No, I just got home actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yes,
How's your
yes, yes,
week
yes.
been?
It's been busy. Yours? How's your week been?
Mine's been busy too.
That's great, great. You look
Yeah.
lovely as always.
Thank you. Thank you. You look great too.
Thank
So Farid,
you.
of course you don't need any introduction. I'll just go like my next guest doesn't need any introduction. But please tell my followers who
Thank you.
you are and yeah, what you do. Who is Fareed Khimani?
Okay, well, I mean, from the public persona, I'm a radio presenter, television producer, TV presenter. Lost you. There you are. Okay. Yeah. That's what I do. uh, if you want to know who I am on the other side of the microphones and cameras, I'm a guy who's, in a very interesting journey and a very interesting phase of my life. I think that's part of our discussion today, obviously.
Yes.
And someone who has, seen some pretty low moments in recent years, but has managed to find a course of of optimism and hope and spirituality, which I didn't have before, which is something that I'm so grateful for at this phase in my life, and something that really helps me to keep driving forward.
That's amazing. You're a strong person, Fareed. I always say that Fareed is really strong. You're really, really
I don't
strong.
know. Someone told
You
me
are.
something very interesting recently, that you never know what people are going through in life.
Mm, mm,
And I think everyone has challenges. It's not necessarily to do with money or work, or but challenges are there
yeah,
for everyone.
yeah.
So for me, I
Mm,
think also I don't look at it as being strong or having challenges, as just this is my life.
mm, yeah. Imagine, this is my life.
Yeah,
That's so
there are good
true.
days and there are
You
bad
have to
days. There are
live
good
it.
weeks and there are bad
Yeah,
weeks. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about
exactly. You
strong
have to
people. I
live
don't
it.
think I've met anyone quite as strong as you in my life, to be honest. Your story is something that inspires so many people, and I know I make it very public on your posts sometimes and tell but I'm also at a phase in my life where I don't tell people things that I don't mean, um, and I think that's something really important. So just know that if I do post on your pictures, I really mean what I say, and you can't
Not the
compare challenges. You can't compare challenges between people and
true,
obstacles that people go through.
true.
um, Everyone has challenges, and everyone has dreams of being happy and living a life that they're content with.
Mm.
And that can be someone that's gone through what you've gone through, or someone that's gone through what I've gone through.
What? Yeah, amazing. Fareed, I just want to give you a short, a brief about self-care chats.
Hmm.
I had been receiving so many messages about people asking me, how do you do it? How are you confident? What inspires you? And I'm like, you guys need to meet the friends that I have, because I see these people around me and I'm like, dude, how do you do it? And I'm like, I want to share these stories. So that's how this series just born was born. Sorry. So I'll just start. T- how are you feeling?
How am I
Like,
feeling?
yeah, like really, just how are you feeling?
I'm a little bit stressed. I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with work, but mentally, I'm feeling pretty good. Physically, I'm feeling pretty good,
That's good.
and yeah, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
So you're in a good phase.
Feeling?
You're in a good phase.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
mentally, you're in a good phase.
Absolutely, yes.
That's amazing. That's so nice. Fareed, take us back to January. So, Fareed in January versus Fareed in November. What has changed, and who are they different people?
Ah,
If they are, who do you prefer?
um,
I'm sure they're
I think
different.
in January I had come back from a very nice holiday in the US, in Hawaii, and I had been going to. I'm a recovering addict, substance and alcohol abuse, and I found an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in Maui, in Hawaii, where I had this incredible spiritual awakening. So when I came back in January, I was feeling like my path was chosen, when I came out of rehab in 2018, in April, I think it was April 7th, 2018, I was searching for something they call in recovery a spiritual awakening. And I think I was looking for it so much that I never found it. And it became quite, what's the word I'm looking for? It became quite tiring to constantly feel like, where is this awakening? Where is it going to happen? So I came back from Maui. I had had this incredible spiritual experience, and all of a sudden, I was ready for the year. Ready for the year. I'm feeling good, and then COVID hit. That kind of shook everything up a little bit. I lost some big work in March. I lost two huge contracts based on COVID. Both were sports events. We were doing the production for both, television production. And funnily enough, for the first time in my life, I was the positive person in my office. I was the person telling people, you know, we need to push through this, we'll be okay. And I've never really been that person, especially in my active addiction. I was always kind of
Wow.
the, oh God, it's the end of the world. Why does this always happen to me? God hates me kind of person, you know? And, you know, I've had my moments during this time where I've panicked and I've struggled with my mental health, and I've had a relapse as well with alcohol. And, you know, but the key in life is that you acknowledge mistakes, you acknowledge issues, but you know, your goal in life is to be, if your goal in life, like mine, is to stay clean and sober, then you get back up and you dust yourself off and you go back at it again. No regrets, no beating yourself up. And there's a great saying in Alcoholics Anonymous, which is, this is a place for people with a desire to stop drinking, or in Narcotics Anonymous, stop using drugs. It's not a place for people who don't use drugs. It's for people who desire to stop using. And then sometimes it just sticks, you know. This phase of my recovery has been worked hand in hand with so many miracles, you know. We just got commissioned for 6 new TV shows in one contract about 2 months ago. I have no idea.
How?
Middle of COVID, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't say that's because I'm a good person now and because I don't drink. I say that's because I have clarity of mind. And, you know, vibrations for me is something I didn't know. When people say good vibes, I never really knew where that originated from,
What
you know?
is that? Yeah.
Yeah, and now I know what you put out is what you get back, and I didn't really have that belief prior to this phase of my recovery. You know, and that doesn't mean that, you know, I can sit back and just say I'm giving out good vibes so the world's going to, you know, reward me. I think it's more, you know, the process. People can read your energy.
Definitely.
People can 100%. And you know, there are certain people that are more connected to that than others, and there are certain people that will know off the bat that you're not a person they want to be around. I feel like maybe I was someone who people didn't want to be around for a large part of my adult life, based on my inability to connect with people on a deeper emotional and spiritual level because of, you know, clouding my body with substances, drugs, and alcohol. And I'm not saying that those are bad things, that people shouldn't do them, because that would be wrong of me. What I'm saying is, I, as an addict, cannot do them. Not everyone is an addict like me.
Fareed, I feel like now that you acknowledged yourself as an addict, I think that's where your healing began.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I came back from rehab with all these excuses that I can have a glass of wine, or I can have a beer, I can smoke a joint, whatever the case may be, without really acknowledging the fact that I can't. And when I realized that, I'm going to give you an example, and I know this is a bit of a Q&A, but I want to give you an example of what a miracle is. The founder of Alcoholics Anonymous is a guy called Bill W. And I was on an 8-day shoot in Mombasa a month ago. And I was clean for 4 days. I mean, I hadn't drunk up to that point, but this is the longest shoot I've ever been on without using drugs or alcohol in my life.
Okay.
And on the fifth or sixth day, I was filming a scene of street food on Makadara Street, eating shawarma and mishkaki and things like that, and filming me. And I really felt like a beer, you know, like it was like the perfect setting, hot Mombasa weather, heavy street food, you know. And I started coming up with these ways of which I could, you know, get a beer on my way home, and coming up with a plan. And now remember, I said the founder of AA is a guy called Bill W. So we have a code in AA. If you see someone who's struggling, you ask them, are you a friend of Bill W? And they know that they can talk to you. So I'm there, about to finish my shoot, thinking about where I'm going to get a beer. And this guy, a Kenyan guy wearing a mask because of COVID with his wife and kids, walks up to me on the street and he says, are you a friend of Bill? And I'm like, Bill? And he's like, are you a friend of Bill W? And I said, I am a friend of Bill W. And he's like, yeah, I used to see you in the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings in Westlands. This happened to me on the one day that I felt like, this was five and a half weeks ago. And I think those miracles had presented themselves to me in the past, but because I wasn't receptive to them, you ignore them and you move on.
Did you remember his face?
He was wearing a mask, unfortunately. No, he did pull it down. I do remember thinking he looked familiar. He did. I can't place him really.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's just this higher power stuff. Someone comes to help you
True.
when you need it the most. And I mean, I
True.
think personally, if that guy hadn't shown up, I think I probably would have had a drink that night, you know? And that has just given me more determination, that moment, to stay on the path. And that's a gift, you know. You don't get those things don't
No,
happen all
no,
the
no.
time. Everyone I tell that story to is just like, no way, did that really
No way.
happen? And even the next day, I
It's
asked my
true.
crew, my film crew, I said, did you guys see me speaking to a guy with this? And they're like, yeah, the guy with the family. I'm like, okay, cool. So it actually happened. Thank God.
Okay,
You know,
thank
I didn't
God.
want to think, maybe, you know, maybe I dreamt it up as a way to save myself
Or
from
something.
relapsing.
Oh gosh.
But it happened. It
Wow.
happened, and as I said before, I think those things had always presented themselves to me in the past. But unfortunately, my mind was clouded, and maybe my soul wasn't ready to accept
Wasn't
it.
ready.
But those
Yeah.
miracles, there are
Did.
miracles that happen around you, and I think they only happen when you're on a of spirituality and a path of improving on your character defects.
Acceptance as well.
Yeah,
Acceptance, yeah. Same with
yeah.
me, Farid. When I accepted, when I literally submitted to God, when I started praying, when I opened up, my heart to receive the prayers, to get up to pray, okay, I think, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Okay. Uh, can you hear me? Okay, I think we lost Farid. I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Can see you. Yes, yes. So yeah, as I was telling you, when I opened up to receiving my prayers and getting up to pray, I think that's when I saw that dream. I always share about this. I tell people that how I started my hijab was when I saw a dream. I saw myself wearing a hijab, and I woke up that day and I told my mom, and she was like, don't play around. It's not a 1 or 2 day thing. But I'm like, no, I want to wear a hijab. And when I wore my hijab and I looked into the mirror for it, that was the first time I smiled. Like, whenever
Wow.
I look into the mirror, I used to like just hate myself, just not even want to look. But that day I smiled and I was like, that's when it hit me. I was like, when you accept God into your life, when you start accepting what's happening to you, He somehow makes it easy for you to just, yeah, things will keep on happening then. And that was my upside. Now I was on the low, and that was now my graph going up. Things just became easier from then on.
And
And people
you know,
ask me, like, how?
it
I'm
is.
like, I don't know. I'm just living my life.
I mean, your story is so inspirational, and you don't know this, but I talk about you quite often, and I think about you quite often when I'm feeling low in life, because I've never seen anyone smile as much as you smile, and it's not a smile for the sake of the cameras. I mean, that's where I see you. Obviously, we've only met, a handful of times, physically.
Hmm.
But that smile is a genuine smile, and I really believe it, which is amazing. You really are an inspiration to so many people, and
Thank
I
you.
think that
It's
I'm
not
sure I'm
about
not the
me
only
today.
person.
It's not about me today. It's about you.
Okay. But I just want to say I know I'm not the only person who tells you that, but I really mean it.
I know. Honestly, your comments do really warm my heart whenever I read them. So
I'm
Farid,
glad to hear that.
so who do you prefer? Farid in Jan or November? I think it's November, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've come a long way with my. I'm gonna have to plug in my phone. Sorry, I've come a long way in terms of my learning. Someone also asked me the other day, "What's the one thing I've learned during COVID?"
Hmm.
And I said, "The value of a shilling," because I did not know what that was until
Yes.
about three
Yes.
or 4 months ago. That I was going to be in a situation where I'd have to count my pennies, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. It's what it is.
Yeah, of course.
But that was something that's quite new for me, and I don't think we can look at it as always, negative.
No.
Sorry, I'm trying to, let me just plug in 1 second, Farah. I'm so sorry. I'm such a mess right now.
No,
1
it's okay,
second.
it's okay. It's okay.
Long drive home.
No worries, no worries.
I'm coming right back. Okay, now I'm ready. Is that your dog?
Yeah. No, there's a dog
What's
in the
his name?
estate, not mine.
No, it's not your dog. Okay, I was going to say, what's his name?
No,
All
no.
right, I am ready now.
How
There we
is
go.
Poliza?
Cool. So, sadly, Feliza was stolen.
No! Like
Yes.
stolen?
Like gone, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh no! Sorry.
Yeah. I know, but it's okay, it's life. I was sad for a while, but now it's, you have to move on.
I told my mom what you named the dog and she burst out laughing. She's like, what?
I had to. I made it. Yeah, I see Gadoni has commented, what about Feliza? Yeah, Feliza was stolen. It's sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah, oh gosh. So Fareed, what would you say would be your scariest and darkest moment this year? Like the peak?
I think my darkest moment this year, wow, that's a tough question, Farah. My kids are in Europe with their mom, and I was able to go every 2 months in 2018 and 2019 to see them. And I think when COVID hit, not being able to travel and see them for 9 months was last time I saw them in January, and the next time I saw them was October. That was very hard for me. That was quite low for me. Yeah, that was hard. Quite close to my oldest son, and it was getting to a point where I didn't want to, that connection is quite important to me. So I think that was quite hard for me. Other dark moments this year? No, nothing I can't handle. Nothing that affected me more than not being able to see my kids.
That's amazing. As a media personality, and they call you essential services.
What a joke, right?
Yeah. How did it affect the media, the business? Like you're an MC now, you're an MC, and events are no longer happening. Like, what do you see the future for MCs? Like, tell us about it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've usually made quite a bit of extra money by this time, emceeing events, that was a tough one. But, like I said, my higher power has a way of rewarding me in a way. I've recently became the voice for Coca-Cola radio commercials in Nigeria for some strange reason. Yeah, which kind of supplemented a lot of the MC budgets,
Okay.
So, you have to be creative during this space as well, especially if you're in the industries of, I think events people, you talk about MCs, that's one very small facet of a big event, right? I think the people that are hurting the most are probably events and people that perform at events like DJs and musicians. I think that is where the challenges are. TV production, to be honest with you, radio obviously continued as per usual. As an essential service, I guess. I don't know if what I do on radio is essential to anyone, but TV, TV was all right because everything's kind of gone to these platforms like we're on now, digital content and things of that nature. So there was, the budgets are not quite what they were, but the work is still there, I knock on wood. We've survived as a company. Nusu Nusu, the production house, we've survived. We haven't had a great year profit-wise, but we survived, and I think that is all you can ask for in 2020. I don't think you can ask for much more as a small or medium.
True.
I've got friends who have shut their doors of their companies, and that's 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 not a
Scary.
great place
Yeah.
to be. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is, and we don't have subsidies from the government here like they do in the West in terms of like the UK or Europe. We instead of subsidies, we've got you know taxes to pay, and there's no breaks, and so businesses have to shut down, unfortunately. And I think that's hard. I've seen grown men my dad's age begging on the streets, or calling people for small loans, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see that. And then we also not doing great, so your ability to help people financially is also not what it could have been if COVID wasn't around. So it's a bit of a catch-22.
I was speaking with Mutua yesterday, and he was like, the world is only today realizing how hard it is not to have a source of income. I mean, for them, creators, they don't get paid. When they do their job, the photographers, they're like, we have to chase our money like crazy. We don't even know like where the next, what to do the next month because we've done the work for this month and still not get paid. And I'm like, wow, that really hit me. I'm like, whoa, And then so it's like the world is just realizing right now how tough it is, when you don't have a financial stability. And that just was like crazy. Do you feel like there's a shift digitally? I mean, now they're influencers. Do you think influencers are taking over? Maybe they'll be going to events now.
I mean, the influencer thing is something I'm quite new to, and I've influenced for a couple. Currently doing a really cool campaign with Standard Chartered Bank in Liverpool Football
Yeah.
Club, which is my club. So that's quite nice. I don't know. I'm still a bit more traditional in my thinking of media. Obviously,
Mm, mm, mm,
I still believe radio is king of that kind of media. But I meet a lot of influencers, and I spend time with a lot of younger people who are really into that area.
mm,
Yourself, you're an influencer as well, actually. Um, I don't know about taking over events, but I do think that you can hire an influencer for 1 million shillings or 500,000 shillings, whatever the case may be, to push a product, or you can have a launch at Serena with 150 people in the room,
mm,
which will cost you 5 million shillings to set up with food and drinks and renting the
mm,
room and entertainment. I mean, I can kind of see where corporates are going with that, to
mm,
say we'd
mm,
rather Farah push our product and
mm.
it'll cost us 4.5 million shillings less
Yeah.
than it would if we had a physical event. So I do think that the influencer market is definitely going to damage the events world, for sure.
Mm, mm, mm.
But there is something to be said for a product launch in a physical space that is slightly different. And I don't think those things will die. I think once COVID kind of navigates its way, or we just accept that this is where we are in the world, then I think events will come back. But I don't think on the scale that they were. I don't think there's a need for that anymore.
True. I'm not an influencer and I'm not getting signed by anyone.
No, but you see, an influencer is not someone who makes money from influencing. An influencer is someone who is influential, and I think you are influential. And
Yeah.
financial rewards may or may not come. I think they will, but I don't
Yeah.
think that takes away from
Inshallah.
you being influential. Yeah, but it doesn't take away from you being very influential.
Thank you. As a caregiver for your mom, of course, I'm sure during lockdown it was scary, it was hard, your routines had changed. Take us through that phase and maybe a day in the life.
My biggest concern about me, my mom lives in her own house, as she chose to, with a nurse there in the evenings. My concern with COVID, because she's obviously, vulnerable in terms of her health.
Yes, yes.
So I had a fear that I'm quite interactive with people. I work in a
Mm,
media
mm,
house.
mm,
I'm filming, in different cities and different situations quite often.
mm, mm,
So my biggest concern was, am I going to get COVID and then give it to my mom? So I've
mm.
just had my third COVID test. um,
Yeah, I saw that.
and I,
Oh my God, you're going to tell us all about it.
yeah, but I continue to take them, every month or so.
Oh, okay.
I probably should take them more, but I do take them more. This is so I've had since October 1st, I've had 3.
Oh.
And I'll continue, so I can be sure that I'm not going to, exploit my mom's vulnerability, in terms of health and well-being.
So how did the routine change?
For me as an individual, it didn't really. I'm a pretty private person who spends a lot of time on my own, and I'm usually quite buried in work. I mean, I generally finish with my laptop at around 9:30, 10 every night, and I'm up at around 4:30, 4:45 every morning. So actually, the lockdown for me, I didn't really feel it, to be honest. The only thing I missed was not going out for a meal every now and again, but there was nothing. Of course, once in a while, I'll go out with friends and hang out, until crazy hours of night. But otherwise, I was not. I wasn't really. My life is.
So,
I mean, it's pretty simple and plain these days. So
so staying at home did not affect you at all?
no. No, I think
Wow.
it's more the thought of not having the freedom to
Yeah.
get up and go
Yeah.
out than actually not being able to get up and go out.
True, 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 true. And you had to travel recently as well. Okay, first of all, tell us how uncomfortable is that test?
Oh, it's awful. It's very short though. I mean, 2 seconds in your nose
Yeah, yeah.
and in the back of your throat, but it's not pleasant. Your eyes will water for a while, obviously.
Oh,
So I took a test before I went to Switzerland to see my kids. I had to take one there to come home.
yes.
And then we had Capital FM organized one last week for the
Okay.
staff. So that's the results I got back yesterday.
Okay. So throughout lockdown, you were going to work?
Yeah. My biggest thing was if I don't work, I'll lose my mind. That's kind of me as a person.
Uh,
I love to work, like love working. But
you
I also
can't
get to
do
be.
nothing. You can't just sit and do nothing.
Man, it's very rare that I will stay home the whole day doing nothing.
Watch a
So
movie.
now in the evenings, I'm good. Like 7, 8 o'clock Friday night when I don't have to get up tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. or 4:45 a.m. I'll watch TV until midnight or whatever. I for me, I think it's more in my recovery and in this new phase of my life. Spending time with myself is something I was always afraid of for so long, and I hated it actually. I could never be on my own. I needed other people to, affirm how good I was, or tell me how great I was, or just people around. This phase of my life, which I consider chapter 2, is
2.0.
yeah, Fareed 2.0. I actually did use that the other day. It's Fareed 2.0, but is a phase where even if the room empties out right now, I still feel like the room is full, and that's really brand new for me. That's a huge
Wow.
experience, and I really enjoy cooking and doing my thing, listening to music. As most people know, I'm a huge fan of rock music. So I have my rock music on and my old school hip hop, and I'm cooking and I'm just enjoying myself. And I do take a bit better care of myself in terms of like Friday evenings. I will really wind down at around 7 o'clock, and then the laptop goes off and the phone goes on airplane mode, and I'm out until Saturday morning. I'm in the gym now 4 or 5 days a week. Um, you know, Health wise, you also realize at a certain age, that,
You need to
you know,
relax.
the other day I woke up and I was just limping for no reason. I have no idea why for like 30 minutes. I have no idea why. There's nothing I did the night before. I'm not drinking, so I remember everything. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, why am I limping?
What?
You know what I mean? Half an hour, just like trying to shake off a limp in my left leg. I have no idea why. Nothing. And I just thought, okay, well, that's, obviously a sign of an aging man, So
Nothing close to that. Nothing, nothing. So you had to travel recently. I'm sure you were anxious when you went into an airport. When you went into the airport, were you anxious seeing people around you? Like, did you keep distance or? And
You know, I don't.
self-visited, like, how was it?
I don't have a fear of COVID, in the sense that I honestly think, everyone is going to catch it at some point. You know, to some degree or another. I don't think
Hmm.
there's a way. If you're talking about 250,000 Americans getting COVID every day, I
Hmm.
mean, I'll give you another statistic. We had 950 some odd cases, I think, day before yesterday, which is our highest yet here in Kenya.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that doesn't sound like a lot, less than 1,000 cases. But let me tell you, the sample size was only 5,000.
Yeah,
So
they're not
that's
trusting
one in
enough.
that's basically 1 in 5 people. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I've
Hmm.
got
Hmm.
colleagues at both the radio station and within the TV production industry that have it or have had it. So that doesn't scare me so much. My biggest fear was, because I was going to see my kids, was I going to be in a situation where COVID was not going to allow that to happen?
Hmm.
And then coming back to work, when in a very busy period, was it going to be a
Hmm.
situation where I was going to actually have a situation trying to leave Switzerland to come home?
Hmm.
Those are my two fears, more than actually contracting the virus, to be honest. Of course,
Okay.
planes are funny. Planes are funny places. They're there in their PPE suits, the stewardesses in their masks, and
They
they're
were
telling you,
wearing
make your sure.
suits.
Yeah, on KLM. I think
Oh, okay.
most airlines now, even on Kenya Airways, when I went to Mombasa, they were wearing them. And,
Wow.
then they're telling you, don't take your mask off, make sure your mask's on. The second they serve food, everyone pulls their mask down and they're eating, and I'm just like, so, I mean,
So now,
you know, so for a good 45 minutes to an hour, everyone's got their masks off, chewing with their mouths open. I mean, I'm just like, okay, I understand
oh,
you have to serve food on a flight that's 8 hours long, but I'm just
mm,
thinking to myself, surely they should have done something. Airlines maybe do something before you get on the plane. Everyone sits in a certain area with social distancing, eats their food, and then gets on the plane, and there's nothing served
yeah.
on the flight
Mm.
whatsoever. The seating was the same, so you're sitting with a guy, sort of just here. You know what I mean, on the plane.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, so I kind of locked myself in 2 weeks before I went to see my kids. Like I just went to work
Mm.
and came home. And in my office now at the production house, I made sure that I was the only person in my particular office. And if anyone needed something, they stand at the door. I just was very nervous that I wouldn't get to see my kids. And for me,
Yeah.
that was the biggest fear of the whole COVID situation, was that I wouldn't get to see my kids.
Oh, that's nice. That was nice.
Mm.
So, Fareed, what do you do for self-care? How do you love yourself? Tell us.
I'm pretty adamant about exercise, obviously. So that's one thing I do to take care of myself. I've become, I wouldn't say super fit, but I've become really, really fit during this period of COVID as well. I generally eat quite well, and I'll give a little embarrassing insight. I have a long bath on Friday nights for like a good hour.
Ah, that's
No phone,
nice.
with a book and a candle with the lights off, and I just chill and melt all
Ah,
the stress away and start again the next morning. So those are my kind of tips for self-care. Other than that, I take a lot of supplements, vitamins, a lot of ginger tablet. I have a smoothie with beetroot,
mm,
ginger, turmeric,
mhm.
and different types of fruits and vegetables in the morning. I blend it up and have that every morning as well.
Wow, you're health conscious. I didn't know
I've
that.
become
Oh, you
since
become.
I stopped yeah. I mean, you can't really be health conscious if you're an addict. It's sort of self-defeating, right? So
Yeah.
in my recovery, I've tried to be to get on a path of there are three elements to your being. That's your mind, your body, and your spirit, right?
Mm, mm,
And your mind can be good. You can be on your spiritual path, but you also have to take care of your body as well. Although some
mm.
say it's the most superficial of the three, and in
Yeah.
essence, it's not your physical body, how your body looks. It's more your body as in how it functions. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But
mm.
with all of those things, doing them correctly, then the outlook of your physical being is also quite pleasant as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand with your physical being as well.
So, getting back to the gym, I'll just ask you this: how how is it like? Are you doing it for to build the body, or is it just you feel like you wanna feel good?
I think it's a bit of both. Everyone likes to look good, so I obviously like to train and look good. So that's one reason. But also I know that I'm one of those people that when I do something, I like to push myself. And when I push myself, there's a sense of satisfaction mentally and emotionally. I also gain from that as well. Exercise is a great releaser of endorphins and dopamine.
True.
And that really helps you to push through on the stressful days, which I've had many of in the last couple of months. And now the stress has shifted from stress about, oh my God, there's no work, to, oh my God, I'm too busy, knock on wood. Thank the powers that be. But regardless of what kind of stress it is, the stress does play a role, take a toll on you. Some nights I'm so stressed that I have to force myself to eat dinner, which is not the nicest thing in the world. But that's life.
Yeah, true.
Good
Fareed,
problems.
I didn't write this question down, but I want to ask you: when you look into the mirror, what do you see?
Wow, that's a very good question. I look in the mirror, I see someone who is trying his best to become a better person. Someone who is content with the path that he's on. There was a long period, Farah, before I went to rehab where I avoided mirrors for 4 to 6 months, I think. I couldn't look in the mirror. I see someone who's healthy, whose skin glows, who doesn't have gray.
Why didn't you see yourself before?
I was ashamed, I wanted to stop using alcohol and drugs and I couldn't,
And you couldn't, yeah.
I needed help, I needed help, and I didn't want to admit that I wasn't strong enough to do it on my own. So I just pushed on and stopped and started and stopped and started and then hated myself and got angry with myself, so on and so forth. And eventually it all came crashing down and I ended up in South Africa for 35 days with no phone and no laptop.
That's wow. And do you think so? Today you see someone who you love?
I see someone I think I wouldn't say, I think someone that I'm beginning to really love.
Yeah.
Someone that I'm beginning to respect, and someone that I care for, and those are three things that I didn't have before. I didn't love myself, I didn't respect myself, and clearly with my active addiction, I didn't really care for myself, and that's in a number of different ways. I see an honest person, I see someone who has values, and I see someone that no matter what I go through on a daily basis, that person in the mirror has every tool to find a way out of it,
Yes. High five.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's emotional thought. So what do you really love about your looks, your physical body?
I can't answer that question.
What?
What do I like about my physical body? I like my height. Definitely like my height. I'm very happy with being tall.
Okay.
I do like the fact that I'm, inching towards 50 years old with a full head of hair. That's quite a pleasant thing to have. I like the way I've aged. To be honest, I was very scared of getting older.
Really?
For many years, and now when I look in the mirror, I'm comfortable. Comfortable with my skin.
You're not so bad.
I'm getting a bit gray, as you can see here.
Yeah.
So, it's coming.
Are you gonna keep it or are you gonna die?
No, I'm gonna keep it for sure.
Oh, awesome. My dad still dyes his hair. And I don't. He's like, no. And I don't do it. He's like, know it. He doesn't want to see. Yeah, they don't want to see the white hair. I don't know why.
No, I quite like it, actually. I can't wait to go get more gray.
They don't get it. Anyways, for the last one, what's keeping you going?
What's keeping me going? What's keeping me going is my path to spiritual progress and not spiritual perfection. That's what keeps me going. My kids keep me going. My business partner, who I have to mention here, who is the most incredible man I've ever met in my life. His name is Mark Moss. We've been friends since 2004. I never tell him this, so I hope he's secretly watching this somehow.
Yeah, I hope he
Um,
does too.
I've never met anyone with more honesty and more integrity and more belief in not just himself but me as a person, but also someone who always finds the good in the worst situations. He's an incredible human being, and he's put up with a lot of my shit over the years. Excuse my language. And I'm not
By
an
the
easy
way, you
person to
have
deal with.
behaved well.
I'm saying I'm not an easy person to deal with when I'm sober. You can imagine when I was using. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
my hats off to him. My hats off to him for sticking by me for this long, for sure.
that's amazing. I always I've also seen it, and I always say that no matter what you're going through, somehow God sends that one person who always just sticks by you through it all, and he's the reason or she is the reason that's keeping you afloat, like your floaters, you know? So
My
I feel like
my
everyone has that person.
I agree. I think my mom being healthy is a big
Mm,
drive for me. And also on that note, I remember. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to share one more story with the listeners, with the viewers rather. I was in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in Hawaii, the same trip in late December, just before I flew back. I think it was no, it was January 1st, New Year's Day, and it was an open meeting. So my whole family, my aunts and uncles, they're the ones who live in Hawaii. They came with my mom, and they asked me to read the one of the readings, which was for the 1st of January, and it's titled "I'm a Miracle." It's about recovering addicts. And then they asked us to share something personal, and I remember sharing that when my mom got diagnosed with cancer in 2019, um, the old Fareed, the active Fareed, the Fareed in active addiction, would have blamed God and said, "Why me?
mm,
Not my mom. Why are you doing this to me?"
to me.
But when my mom got diagnosed with cancer, I remember that night praying and saying, "Thank you, God, because I, I'm sober and I can be accountable and I can be present and I can help because I'm sober." And that's a huge shift for me. You know what I mean? It wasn't blaming God
Mm,
for giving me cancer. It was more the fact that, you know what, the silver lining is the fact that I am not in active addiction. I can be
mm,
here with a clear mind
take care of
and,
her.
and to
Wow,
help her. And I think for me, that was a massive shift.
wow. SubhanAllah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That is so
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, it
Wow.
was because, yeah.
Definitely powerful. Everyone is loving you for it. And by the way, I commend you for being very good and not using any curse words.
I used one. I'm sorry. I swore once,
No,
and I apologize for
that
that.
one is okay. Okay, I'm gonna play a small game with you. It's Would You Rather.
Okay.
So quick questions and answer
Mm.
fast, okay? So the first one, would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song you hear?
Sing along.
I know, I knew it. I knew it. By the way, those karaoke sessions on Instagram, I'm like, Fareed, stop.
What do you mean? You don't think I have a nice voice?
Oh, really? Oh gosh, but they're so fun. Do you generally love to sing out
Oh my
loud like
God.
that?
I think I sound amazing. It's only
Oh.
when I hear it back on Instagram, I'm like, oh my goodness. When I'm singing, when I sing No One by Alicia Keys, I sound like Alicia Keys. You know what I mean?
Wow, Alicia, Alicia with the days. With a husky tone. Oh gosh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But no, do keep singing, really. Yeah. You should. I think you'll get better.
I don't think so. You know, I think at a certain age, you just accept that this is who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, number two. Would you rather live in a house haunted by friendly ghosts or be a ghost reliving your average day after you die?
I'd rather be in a house haunted by friendly ghosts.
Oh God, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
see why.
friendly ghosts. I think friendly
Yeah.
ghosts. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's still scary. Okay. Would you rather have a pause or rewind button in your life?
Rewind.
Re- Rewind?
Yeah.
Ah. So you can go back and change stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I also feel that, everything that happens in your life happens at the time it's supposed to happen, but there are
Mm.
certain things I would like to go back and just say, I wish that hadn't happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I have a question here. Let me just read it. Okay. Love you. Continue. Okay. No, that's not a question. All right.
More of a comment.
Anything you'd like to share? Yeah, it was just a comment. Love you. People could.
Um,
Yeah. Let me just post it there. Yeah. Sania Moran. And then
oh,
we
that's
had
nice.
another question here. Someone was asking, you have a Yorkshire accent.
Well, I was
So
born in the UK.
tell them
but
about it.
I was born in the UK, but not in the north, in Yorkshire. I was actually born in the south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There. Amara,
So
that's
I
it.
have this like kind of mixed, because I spent 18 years in the States or 20 years in the States.
Hmm.
I was born in the UK and I've been here for 21 years. So my accent is all over the
It's all
place.
over the place. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
mix. Thank you so much for it. Would you like to tell the viewers anything you're working on, anything they should look out for? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I would just like to tell or your viewers, I should say, who I'm lucky enough to interact with this evening. Just remember that your life is going to have a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes it's going to feel like you can't get out of where you are. You'd be surprised at how much support you have out there if you
Mm,
just open up. I'm one of those people that never asked for help until recently, and now when it's not like I'm asking people for help all the time, but now when I'm feeling quite a tough time, I'll reach out to friends, I'll reach out to family and tell them that
mm,
I need help. And then that's something quite new for me. It's something I really cherish. As far as new
mm, mm.
projects, yeah, I've got a couple of new shows coming out on DSTV, but I can't say much about them yet. But I will share
Awesome,
more
awesome.
as time
That's
goes
nice.
on. Yeah, yeah.
That's nice. I would like to reiterate what you said, asking for help. I always feel like the the way you shared your story, you had created a space for people to come on board and say, yes, Fareed, even I am going through something, or even I. So I feel like we should really, yeah, encourage in sharing stories, sharing. The more as you're sharing, you're showing your courage, your strength. And again, you are strong, Fareed. You're
I
very
really
strong.
appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It's had
Yeah.
incredible response since I did the Engage talk. I did not
Mm,
know when I did it that was going to be the intention,
mm,
but
mm.
I'm glad it worked out that way.
Yeah.
And
And don't
thank
you
you to
feel
Engage for
so
the
much
platform.
lighter after sharing? Don't you feel a bit
Absolutely.
light? Like you just feel like, yeah, that's me. Take it or leave it, you know?
Absolutely, and it
Yeah.
made it very easy for me to, you also in recovery you need to hold yourself accountable, and the best way to do that is to tell people that you're struggling with addiction. So
Yes.
you can't tell the world that, and then they see you at Kengele's having a beer later that day. So it also helps me to stay sober. That the more people that know
Ah,
about it,
okay.
it's also a good tool for me as well. But sharing,
Mm,
I'll leave you guys with this. There's another great saying in the Alcoholics Anonymous program, which is we can only keep what we have by giving it away. And
mm.
that is, if we don't tell people our struggles, if we don't tell people what we've been through, then we're not
How
helping
will they
anyone.
know? Yeah,
You
how
can
will
only
they
keep what
know?
you have if you give it away, and that's a really powerful, mantra
Wow.
for recovering addicts.
Wow, that's so strong. Say it again.
We can only keep what we have by giving it away.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm sorry I was late, and I'm sorry about all the connectivity problems, but it was
No
really
problem.
enjoyable. And thank you so much for asking me to be on your show. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I really do. All right, so yeah, 5 minutes to go. Want to say something else?
I think I'm good. I think I've said enough. I think I've talked enough.
Okay, okay, I'll leave you to your work now. Have a good evening. Bye.
You too. Thanks
Take
again.
care.
Bye bye.
All right, bye. All right, guys, that was Fareed, and wow, how powerful was that? Again, thank you so much for joining me. Next week, awesome people again. So, yeah. Bye, everyone.